Okay, welcome back, everybody. We missed a couple of weeks. Mental health things. It happens. Let that be a reminder to you that you are allowed to take a break if you're going through it. Um, because yeah, sometimes that's just necessary. But we're
And
here.
it's good. It's good because we can name this season
3.
3. Like,
Ah!
this can be season 3. We have our little hiatus, and now we're back.
We're back. Oh, that's true. Yeah, I think we're just gonna do that every time. I mean, we don't. Yeah, we do it kind of often, but um,
Not as often. I mean,
no, not as often.
before it happened because of idiot, and this time it just happened because mental health.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? Maybe that's something we should talk about.
Hmm.
Not that I want to put all my stuff out there, but it's good to talk about things. Um, we didn't really have a topic for this week. I told Maria I was having some thoughts in the car about some things, which I guess kind of like intertwine with what has been going on in everybody's life, my life. But yeah, I guess we'll just y'all are literally just gonna be in a Heather and Maria conversation because there's no
Oh,
topic specifically other than mental health, which we both are huge advocates
oh, and
for.
look, I've got some pretty nails.
Yeah, so let's talk. Okay, yeah, before we start, let's talk about some accomplishments. Okay,
Oh, geez.
first of all, I started at a new salon. I'm feeling super great about it. My bosses found my podcast, and I am slightly terrified because I say fuck a lot. I'm really sorry. You guys are great. I love you. Um, Maria starts school in
Yes.
November
Mid November.
to become a nail tech, and let me tell you, she is killing the game. Her nails look dope as fuck, and she's not even like doing it yet. Look, you're gonna be ahead of everybody.
I doubt that, but um, I am really excited though. I'm so excited.
You
I
should
was I was
be.
trying I was trying not to get too excited because okay, guys, listen. I researched this for a while. I'd been researching it for a while because I kind of wanted to do it, and then I found out that if you're in the state of Texas, if you're a licensed nail technician, you can have your salon at home. You can have an in-home salon. Um, and so I was like, huh. And I started looking into it. I'm like, whoa, way too expensive.
Yeah.
I'm like, way too expensive. And my husband was like, that's something that you can think about doing. Because usually makeup on other people, it's okay, but I don't know, just doing nails, it's very relaxing and I just kind of get into the zone and do what I need to do and I love it. It's awesome. It calms me. And it's something I probably could do like all day, every day.
And I'm so
Um
proud of you because nails stress me out so much. I shake too much to do anybody's nails. I could not do anybody's nails
why?
because I shake a lot. I have ever since I started having seizures. I just shake a lot.
Oh, do you?
Mhm.
I mean, I've never seen you have.
Maria's like, "Have I?"
I've never seen you shave.
Yeah, I do.
My hand
It's
isn't that steady.
I remember in school we had to do it, and I'd fuck everything up, which is fine. I'm not even mad because that's not even what I wanted to do. Like, I have mad respect. I have so much more respect for the women who do my nails now because I'm like, damn, I can't do it. It's too stressful for me. I just don't want to do it. Hair is also stressful, but it's like stress that it's like problem solving stress. So I don't mind that. I love problem solving. And
It's
so
the
I think
same with
Kelly said that to
nails.
me. Kelly was like,
Yeah, it's a.
I think it was him who said my whole job is problem solving. And I was like, kind of. Or
Mhm.
was that you?
No, that was probably him, but he's right. He's right.
And
Um,
yeah.
it takes. Yeah, and so the place I'm going to is it's very well known over out here, and I listened to a podcast. So guys, this is going to take a while because I'm going to go through the entire spiel.
Okay, right ahead.
about what was going on. So, because my husband was like, you should try it, and then of course Heather was like, oh, she's been trying to get me to do cosmetology for a while.
Yeah, because you're good at
She
it.
started in it, yeah. Um, so I went into or I started researching, and I'd been watching like a lot of the nail tubers, as they call them, the nail tubers, for a
Mm-hmm.
while, and I watched a couple of professionals, and then a bunch of ones that were not professionals, and they just did it at home and recorded it and put it online, and I'm like, I'm gonna start doing that. And so I started doing that, and I was just like, it took me my first set to do my first set. It took me like over 9 hours.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, because I was like, and it was polygel, and I was just like, it was rough. I finally got it down to lower. I did my daughter's nails in a couple of hours, so I'm
You
getting
know
better.
what? It used to take me like 5, 6 hours to do a balayage, and now it takes me like an hour and a half. So
See, that's
it's just
I,
growth. It's practice.
yeah, I'm hoping that I will be a lot better after I get out of school. But my husband's buying me a practice hand
Ooh,
on Thursday, so
that's
because
awesome.
it's kind of my little congratulations thing.
Yeah.
But so, and I also been listening to the Young Nails podcast, and they did a podcast like a long time ago, and or no, I think this was one of their other. I don't remember if it was one of their older episodes or one of their more recent episodes because I'm trying to catch up. I've been flipping back and forth. But she was saying it was like, what did you want to know? What would you have wanted to know before you went to nail school? And they were like, well, um, that I wouldn't learn anything about nails, about doing nails. And I was like, oh no. Um, so I went to this beauty school, this cosmetology school. Only place there was only two places in over here that cosmetology school um did nail that did specifically nail tech. And one was in Denton, one was in Arlington, and I'm not going to Arlington. I hate Arlington. So sorry anybody that lives in Arlington, Texas.
No, you're not. It's fine.
I'm just not a fan of Arlington, okay?
You're so
Um,
funny.
yeah, so I went to the Denton school, and the Denton school gets really, really good reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over there and I talked to them, and she was like, "Yeah, we teach you how to do airbrushing. We teach you how to do acrylic and polygel and dip systems and like anything to do with the nail. They teach you, and then they have like some kind of fun afternoons that they try to follow the trends. Like there's trends of things that aren't supposed to be used for nails and that people use for nails online and stuff. And so they're gonna one of their classes is to do that, to figure out a way to use that, incorporate that in your nails and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they're teaching them, to think outside of the box and to learn all of that. And I believe they're Paul Mitchell focused because that's the brand
Okay.
there.
Yeah. When I went to hair school, it's funny that you say that because when I went to hair school, it's mostly like they don't teach you trendy things. They don't teach you, like I don't feel like I don't feel like those types of schools are meant to set you up to come out of school and like immediately be successful as far as like technique, talent, knowledge, with anything that actually has to do with your craft. They teach you like the bare basics. They teach you even with nails because when you have a C license, you do everything. Like you can do waxing, you can do nails, you can do hair. Um, I think we technically have esthetician under our stuff. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure, at least in North Carolina. And but like most of
Yeah, that's
it
what
is just
Young Nels is
sanitation.
saying.
Like state board is sanitation, and your practical is just like, can you do this without, can you curl somebody's hair without burning them? Can you apply something without giving chemical burns? You know what I'm saying? Or like, can you wax without, killing somebody's skin? Like, it's more focused on sanitation and like people's health than it actually is your craft. So like you saying that person was like, "You're am I gonna like I'm not gonna learn anything about nails in school." I was super excited because I was under the impression I was gonna learn a lot, and it was like crazy because it was other students learning in their salons that they were working at, and I went to a million classes outside of school while I was in school, and that was just the best way to like enhance my and other people to enhance their abilities before graduating and going out into the real world. But I mean, it's super, in my opinion, I don't know about nail school, but I know cosmetology school is super annoying while you're in it. It's super fucking frustrating, and then you get out and it's like a whole new world. So
Yeah, because I was like, when I was talking to her, because I went in there and she was like, well, why don't you want to do, why, I see that because she asked me if I had done my hair myself because I had pink at the time. And I was like, well, yeah, but my friend helps me. She helps me decide what I need to do.
yes.
And she was like, why don't you want to do hair? I'm like, I don't have the patience for hair. Nope. No.
Once you're in it though, like the time just kind of goes by. It really does. It kind of flies by. Yesterday time flew by and I was stressed to shit. Yesterday was my first bad day at work. Um, just because like nothing was coming out how I wanted it to, and I think I just started my day off wrong. Like I woke up late, and I try not to do that. Like I try to be awake and like have time to get ready. I woke up late. I was rushing to work. I got to work early. My client got there like 2 minutes after I got there. So usually I have time to like get my mind right, and like I just wasn't in the right space yesterday, and like everything just kind of went wrong after that, and I was really upset about it. So, but you know what? Everybody has bad days. It's okay.
Yes, it happens.
It's
I know.
rare.
Dear
It's
Lord.
rare for me at work. Like typically I'm super positive at work, but I felt like the vibe was off in general yesterday. I'm not like blaming anybody. I feel like everybody was not everybody, but a lot of people were just kind of like in a weird space yesterday. So it is what
Yeah,
it is.
have their days. But yeah, so when she started telling me everything that they did, because they even teach business in there, that you have to do your own business plan and you have to actually apply for a small business loan and then present for the small business loan and all of that
That's dope.
for it's part of your stuff. But she said, yeah, they get you ready for your practical and basic or your state boards, and your state boards is sanitation. It's all
Yeah, that's all it is.
sanitation. What happens if you cut the person? What are the proper procedures and this and that? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what the lady in Young Nails was saying, was that I wish I would have known that. She goes, I'm glad I chose the school that I did, but what you need to do is just find the cheapest school because you're not going to learn anything no matter how much you pay.
Right, right, right. You have to like
So,
apprentice under somebody while you go to school or something.
right. And I was like, man. But when I interviewed with her, because the person that I interviewed with was it was an actual instructor. And she was telling me what they were doing now and everything, and showed me some of the people's projects and things. And I was like, okay, well, it's I think I'll like it. And her and I hit it off really well. I tend to make friends wherever I go, though. But so I was like, yeah. And then I learned about the cost, and I was like, crap. So I tried really hard. That was a long story to say that. I tried really hard not to get my hopes up because I didn't know if I would get any financial aid. I knew I wasn't going to get any grants because my husband makes too much money. So I knew that. But I didn't know if I could get any more loans because I have a lot of student loans. And apparently I'm able to cover most of it and just need a little bit out of pocket. So I'm now officially excited.
Good. You should be. I'm
Yeah.
excited
Yeah.
for you.
So we're
Cool.
gonna start after we get over this little Corona hump. We're gonna start. I'm planning on starting school November. So,
Good.
so
I'm
yeah,
glad.
yeah, I'm
I'm
excited.
working. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm literally like working while we're doing this. I'm not like doing
Are you
hair, but I'm doing
scheduling?
no, I'm doing like social media stuff. Sorry guys. If you're on whatever it's called. YouTube. That's what I'm doing.
You doing what?
I'm doing like social media stuff while I'm talking. Anyways, sorry,
Are you gonna
super
do? Are you
distracted.
gonna do a a video on color theory?
You know what? I think I should. Okay, so really quick. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna be kind of just like having a conversation about everything, kind of filling you guys in on what's been going on the last couple weeks, and I'll jump into my stuff in just a second. But like there, so Maria does makeup. Like everybody knows this. Maria does makeup. She has her YouTube channel. Yeah, and Maria had tried this palette and she was trying to blend these two colors, and these colors like weren't blending very well, and she was just making a comment about how these two colors didn't blend very well. And this woman was so butthurt about this comment that Maria made and went and made a whole fucking video on YouTube. She said they're too far apart from each other on the color wheel. Mind you, the colors that she's trying to blend together are blue and green. I'm like, skippity doo, that's two. You don't fucking like that's not a real thing. Like you can fucking blend green and blue. So then the woman's argument was that it was a more of an indigo blue and the green is more of a seafoam green. So Maria sent me a picture of this palette, and like they're very blendable. Like I feel like just by looking at them, like they're very blendable. Like I use greens and blues. I blend, like Maria was saying, she blends crazy colors sometimes. I blend crazy colors sometimes. Like if a product just doesn't work for you, it just doesn't work for you, and that's okay. But I was like, this will take us right into mental health. I'm sitting here wondering, like, yo, bitch, what is so wrong in your life that you had to go so far out of your way? My best friend is the nicest person in the world. Like, she would never in her life talk shit on somebody. She would never in her life go make videos about somebody. She would never in her life do what I'm doing right now and code. Like, why would you go you made a whole, like, you were so upset that you made a whole video talking about these, whether or not these colors blend together, and talking, the video was supposed to be about color theory, but I'm just like, you shouldn't even be talking about color theory, bro. Like, oh, I have a lot of things that I even just saw in that video where I'm like, there's like, nah, you're not the one. Like, you shouldn't be talking about this. It really bothered me, and it still bothers me, and I was gonna make my own comments, but I haven't, and I probably won't because I'm not that much
I
of an
told her not
asshole.
to. I told her to be nice.
I don't, it's not even like I would go cuss somebody out and be like totally fucking crazy, but my thing would just kind of be like, was this necessary? Like, do you feel better about yourself? I don't understand like how being like that could like make somebody feel good about themselves. But you know what? Like, knock yourself out, sis. Karma's a real thing. That bad energy is not gonna work for everybody else. But I hope that you're making do with it. Like, I don't even know. That shit made no sense to me.
Mhm.
Not at all. But
Yeah, well, what we decided, because I got the same batch number as Missa did, and Missa hated the palette too,
yeah.
and so did Tia. She hated the palette too because the blue would not cooperate. It was like the worst blue ever. Um, and all of us got the same batch. All of us have the same batch code, so we're wondering if the palettes are just inconsistent. But
That's
still, I
possible.
mean,
That's very possible.
if and I've always said, everybody's opinions are different. I'm gonna like something you're not gonna like. You're not gonna like something that I like. Um,
Well, that's fine. A
it's
difference of opinion is fine, but going out your way to make a whole video about somebody's opinion and being an asshole about it when your ass fucking sits here and you review drugstore shit, like, you can calm down. There's no reason to be popping off on somebody like that. That was so unnecessary. And I just don't, for the life of me, I don't understand it. Like, I just don't understand, like, why people, like, it's like people going on Facebook and bitching about their boyfriend on Facebook, or talking about their whole life with
mhm,
their baby daddy on Facebook or whatever. Like, yo, if you're mad, that's fine, but like, don't make it,
right.
it's not like, it's shit that you should be settling within your own little circle, not putting up for everybody to see. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly. And like yesterday in my video today, I blended blue and red. Yes, it did look brown where they blended, but they still blended out together.
Right.
and it wasn't hard.
No.
And Kylie Cosmetics doesn't have very great of a formula to begin with, and I did fine with it.
Right.
So I don't know. I was just like, I looked at Heather and I said, "Oh, I seriously do not want to upload my video now." And Heather's like, you need to upload it."
I guess like this is gonna take me into something a little bit different, but I think like in this scenario, you would be the one I'm talking about, but I already know you do this. But in general, when you're around people with that kind of energy, like you have to learn to protect your own peace and protect your own energy. And let me tell you, like the beauty community is full of that shit. And I think personally, the beauty community gets a bad rap for it, but because I don't think it's the majority of the beauty community. I think a lot of the beauty community is really uplifting and really positive and really supportive. But like you have those few who act like that, and it's just everyone's like, oh my god, the beauty community is so catty. So my whole thing is like, if I hear drama, oh, okay, or like if someone's bitching about somebody else around me, I'm like, and then I walk
Right.
out because like there's just no point. And the thing is, like people, like bad energy will suck you in, and people are, even if it's not intentional, they're trying to suck you in because misery loves company. So the best thing to do, and I know it's so hard because we all have opinions that we want to give, but the best thing you can do, especially if it's like in your workplace or if it's in like a community of people that you're talking to often, the best thing you can do is just stay the fuck out of it, because there's no, because you're gonna fuck up your own energy and your own peace because you can't keep your mouth shut, and like that's a you problem, that's not somebody else's problem. So you know,
Exactly.
it's sometimes it's hard, especially when you're working with people who are bitching about their lives, whether it's your client, whether it's your coworkers, whether it's your friend in your group that you have, your little support group. There's always going to be problems with somebody somewhere, but it's not like if you don't get involved, you don't care about somebody. You just have to figure out like boundaries. Where, like, what is the extent I get involved? And like for me, the extent I get involved with most people is like, okay, well, if you need to talk, I'm here for you, type of deal. And funny enough, like 9 times out of 10, people don't come to you. So I mean, I'm here if you
That's
do,
the truth.
but if you do, I'd rather have a one-on-one conversation than have you bitching to a whole salon, a whole group of people, a whole whatever, about something that you can get advice about directly without stirring the pot. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, and I'm just like, and I try really, really hard to kind of stay away from that because I went the only person I really get involved, like where I allow my empath guard down is with Heather. That's all.
Sorry. And I always have shit going on. Like I would love not to, but I always do, honestly. You know what? And the reason we didn't make the last podcast is because I went ghost, and like sometimes I just need to do that. And Maria understands every time. Like it was so funny. She was like, you do this around this time every year, it's fine, just take your time. But because I just like I had too much going on, I had like a mental break, it was crazy. I ended up like bruising myself, I gave myself a concussion, like it was crazy. And I was like trying to kind of just work through that. And that's what I meant, like you can take a break. Um,
You have to. You have to. No, there's nothing that says that you have to be on all the time. I
right,
know. I know that when I start school, shit, that's full time. My videos is probably gonna be down to 1 or 2 a week.
right.
Um, or I'll just record and edit
You can make
the
nail
same
videos.
day, and try to do that because I'm gonna have 6 months. Hopefully, it will be less, but I'm gonna have 6 months of um, full time student. It's gonna suck, but I'm ready for it. But yeah, Heather's really the only one that I really let my empath guard down with, because I learned when I had that really shitty year when I allowed somebody. And the guys are, oh god, it's again no. When I allowed somebody to make me feel like crap.
Mm-hmm.
So um, vowed I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to allow myself to have be around really, really negative energy. And
Right.
it's helped a lot. But you have to know the limitation of, okay, this is getting too much for me. I need to back
Hmm.
off.
Hmm.
Um, it's just knowing that.
Well, and just like sticking to your guns. Like when
Hmm.
I wasn't talking to Maria, I wasn't talking to a lot of people, and like I was talking to the people within my house, the people within my job, and my brother and his wife, and that's pretty much it. Um, but I also know like what energy I can take, what energy I can't take, and for me with Maria, it's not so much I don't want to talk to you. It's more of like I'm going through something. I feel guilty putting that on other people. Maria feels my shit anyway. But like if it's really
Always.
bad, like I don't want to be putting that shit on other people. I'm not trying to record a podcast and not be in it. If my biggest pet peeve is like when I'm going through something and people know I'm going through something because I'm very vocal, right? I'm very vocal with the people who matter. Um, if I'm going through something, like my biggest pet peeve is like, okay, I tell you serious shit's going on, and then it's like, okay, cool, but I still need you to do something for me. So like
Oh,
I don't have time and my thing and it's okay to say no to people because you can't take it. Like for me personally, I am 28. I have a almost 4-year-old. I work full time, 45 minutes from my house. So I'm driving up and down the road, hour and a half in the car every day, which I'm not complaining about. I'm just saying like this is my life, right? So I'm driving an hour and a half every day. I'm trying to save money to get out of my house. I got a lot of stuff going on within my own four walls. And it's like, the way that one of my family friends that I've known since I was born said it, she was like, you're in the thick of it right now. Like, you're a parent, you're starting your career, you're all over the place, and I'm still trying to make family time and all of that. So I am exhausted, basically. And like, there's some times where you have to be like, you know what? I'm not mad at you, but I got to protect my mental because that's
mhm.
more important than what you need from me right now, because right now I need from me right now, and what I need from me right now is more important than what anyone else is going to ask me for. Because that's something I learned over time, was being a yes man, giving people what they want every time they ask, just being at everyone's beck and call. All it does is stress me the fuck out. It makes me so much more miserable. That's when I start gaining weight. That's when I start not feeling good about myself. That's when I start losing sleep. That's when I start doing shit I'm not supposed to do because I don't feel good. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to escape everything. And it's like you can't be given to everybody else when you're not given to yourself. And my cup already empties fast. So you know what I'm saying? It's just
Mhm.
like you can't do that. You can't do that. You got to protect yourself and your own energy and your own mental before you can start giving to anybody else. And if I'm going to give to anybody before myself, it's going to be my damn kid. It's not going to be somebody else who needs something from me. You don't need shit from me. You're grown. Like you can
Yeah,
deal with your own shit.
exactly.
Don't ask me for anything.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You've got to think about that too. You've got to be aware, and that's probably the hardest thing is to be aware.
Well, and a lot of
You
people aren't self-aware, and like I'm not always 100%, but I'm proud of the fact that for the most part I am self-aware. At least I'm self-aware enough to I know when I fuck up, okay? I know when I'm about to fuck up. I know when my energy's not right. I know myself pretty fucking well to be able to handle myself. And that's why I don't put myself in those positions. Because then if you fucking give in and you're miserable and then you look at somebody and say, well, I did this for you and you're still not grateful and you're still an asshole and you're fucking up my shit, then it's like, oh, well, you didn't have to. But if I didn't, you're going to sit here and guilt me for fucking 10
know.
years. So what difference does it make? Nah. So I just don't say anything. Like, I'm just not going to talk to you. If I know you're going to fuck me up, I'm just not going to talk to you. It's
Mm-mm.
so much
Yeah.
easier that way. No, I don't have time.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially after the episode that you had. I mean, I knew after all that happened that it was going to be Bye Bye Heather moment.
Well, because you know what? So, like, without getting really deep into it, like, I basically had like an out of body experience, and it was terrifying for me. And my thing
There's
was
a
like,
mental breakdown.
yeah, I'm like, I gotta figure out what the fuck is wrong. Like, I'm trying to talk to my therapist. I'm trying to talk to the people that it directly impacted. I'm trying to get right with myself because I'm still not right with myself over it. I'm not blaming myself for it, but like, there's still things that I have to take responsibility for, because whether or not I was 100% there, like my actions hurt other people. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to come to terms with like trying to like forgive myself while asking forgiveness, while being apologetic, while trying to change my behavior, but I don't know how to change the behavior because it wasn't me, type of deal. Like, it's crazy. And it's crazy how like you can be going through all these changes and you can like be trying to tell somebody, like my whole thing was I'm not sugarcoating my mental health anymore. And you can be going through all these changes and be so open about it, and people can still have their fucking hand out, dude. Like, get your fucking hand out of my
Yeah.
face. Like, my hand is in my face right now because I need from me. And for me, like, all I could do was focus on my work, focus on my numbers, focus on my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're in these moments where, especially like in the
And that's
situation
what
I was
needs to
in,
happen.
yeah,
You
when
and
you're in
yourself.
situations when like you feel out of control, you have to come back around full circle and be like, okay, what am I in control of? Okay, I'm in control of how my daughter's raised. I'm in control of how hard I work. I'm in control of what kind of energy I attract. I'm in control of what type of energy I let in. I'm in control of my health. I'm in control of my routines, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that there's times where your mental isn't right and you feel like you can't do anything, but really sit down and make a list of all the things. And when you start remembering and realizing all the things that you are in control of, it makes a huge difference. And it really does lift you back up. I feel like it does for me anyway. Um, and yeah, it's just been, sorry, I thought my door was open again.
Yeah,
It's just been a crazy couple weeks, honestly.
right. Well, and word of warning too. I'm gonna say this, talk about this without trying to get into much of my sister's business. But she had 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, had a breakdown.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into the details of
Yeah.
it, but when and this is something for you guys to think about, because she had to do intense therapy. So when you got to think about this, when you go through a traumatic situation, okay, the brain is a very, very, very wonderful thing. I mean, scientists are still trying to study it. I mean, there's a lot of things we don't know about the human mind. Um, but the brain protects itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you will, if you've been through traumatic situations like me, like Heather, like my sister, both my sister and I were in abusive marriages. I had issues before then because I was attacked and raped before I got married to my first husband. And some things happened after that. Everything's good and great and awesome now, and that's the same with her. And she had asked her therapist, she goes, but that's the thing. And she was remembering things from our childhood that, hell, I don't even remember. Um and she was like, she told the therapist, she goes, but why now? Why
Mm-hmm.
now?
Because you're
I'm
happy.
perfectly happy now.
Mm-hmm.
And the therapist said, the because you're safe. You're in a place now that you're safe, and your brain is allowing you to deal with all of those situations, and you just had a breakdown. Um,
Mm-mm.
so you've got to think about that. Like my sister said, because even I was going to therapy, but not as much as I do, now, because but after that happened to her, and I realized that some of the signs that she was showing is some of the signs that I started showing.
Mm-hmm.
um Therapy is not a bad thing, and it's not something to be ashamed of.
No, I think
It
everybody should go to therapy.
Yeah, it can easily save your life one day. So just be self-aware of that, and go to therapy.
So what's crazy about that? So when I had my whatever the fuck I had, I talked to Marie about it, and I was like really ashamed. Like, I felt all these things that were negative, and I was like, I don't even know what happened. Like, I don't even know who I was in that moment. Like, I went to the gas station that night in the middle of all this, and the guy was like, and like I go to this gas station all the time, and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "You just don't look right." And like, you know, it's crazy when strangers can see it. And that's what my therapist said too. But so I told Maria, and I was like, I just wasn't myself. Like I wasn't even in my own head, whatever. And Maria started talking to me about that, about what her sister's therapist said. So I went to my therapist and I said, you know, this is a thing that Maria was talking to me about. And she was like, it's very possible. Like you've gone through so much shit the last couple, like, let alone the rest of my DM life. Okay. Like the last couple of years have been super stressful. And then it's like the last few months, like I met Kelly and, you know, we
Yeah,
have
everything's
good,
going well.
yeah, like we have a good connection. We have good energy, good conversations. Like I finally, for the first time, feel like understood. I feel like I'm on the same page with somebody, you know, of the opposite sex. Um
Mhm.
uh but you know, like I've been being treated right, like I've had more time with my daughter, and that was my I got a job, you know, and like that was my whole thing was I was like, why is this happening, you know? So and I told her, and she was like, it's very possible. Like the only thing that you were still stressed about, like really stressed about, was work and money. The other stuff, you know, the stuff with at home and all that, like that's just regular everyday shit that people deal with, you know what I'm saying? Maybe not not everybody, because my situation's weird, but you know, it's still just everyday shit that's not like, you know, insane or whatever. And you know, she was saying that what happened is like, you know, that was the last big thing you were stressing about and you got it. And like Maria was saying, like, I'm comfortable as far as like my mental. And so like Marie was saying, you finally get to this place where you feel safe. And it's so funny because I've been telling him that too, like that I that's how I feel comfortable, I feel safe, I feel good, like everything feels easy, stuff like that. And it's just crazy because as soon as I like settled into that feeling, I just like I lost it. And I and that she thinks that could very well be what happened because it's just so out of character. um
Mhm.
but you know, that just comes back to like, you have to you have to be self-aware and you have to take care of yourself. It's okay to take a break, it's okay to take a day off, it's okay to, you know, say I'm not okay, it's okay to ask for help. And for me, I told Maria, I said the last thing that like was really big for me that I don't think I really took the time to process the way I usually do, it was my oldest daughter's birthday, because I'm a birth mother. I have a daughter, she was
Mhm.
adopted when I had her. And her birthday went by recently, and like I felt it, but I didn't feel it the way I usually feel it. And I think again, I was feeling comfortable with like everything going on around me in within my vicinity, that I
Mhm.
was just like, everything's, you know, like I'm sad but it's good, you know, like I'm okay. And then somehow everything just kind of like it's just snapped. And
Mhm.
the thing is like, it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to ask for help, all that, right? But if you snap or if something goes wrong, it's not okay to not take responsibility. That's the biggest thing.
Yes.
And it's not okay to be verbally apologetic for your actions and not change your actions or not work to find solutions. I'm a very
Yep.
solution-based person. So if you're not constantly searching for solutions to be better, then you're staying in the same place that you're already at. You're staying with the
Mhm.
same energy. You're not within a growth mindset, and that means that you're bound to repeat what's already happened, even if it's not
Yeah, exactly.
intentional. You know what I mean? And Maria knows I've tried to deal with all my stress as it's fucking come, but
Mm.
there's been a lot of it. So not all of it. I know I didn't deal with all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still
Well,
scared of
yeah,
my
I mean,
ex. Like I haven't dealt with that.
oh yeah, I was gonna say you went through an entire year of looking over your shoulder and worrying what's gonna happen and staying in this abusive relationship that was so not good for you. And she didn't listen to her best friend and
I didn't. It's so funny because we were just talking about that today. Like Kelly was like the last nudge, and it was just like, it wasn't even like, I had been trying to leave. Like, I was trying to, like, muster it up. And Maria knows. I talked about it. I was like, I can't take it anymore. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to try because he did good this one time, you know? And, like, and then I tried to muster it up. And then I met Kelly, and Kelly was just really kind to me as a person. Like, it had nothing to do with anything romantic or whatever. It was just, like, he was really kind to me as a person. And it was like, a man is being nice to me. A man is treating me with kindness and is having conversations with me and is validating me and cares about my thoughts and, like, my feelings, just because, you know, not to get anything out of it. And that was it for me. I was like, you know what? I gotta go. Like, because I'm not gonna negate all this good energy with this bad energy and be right back where I fucking started, you know. And I'm also not gonna continue to bring in this bad energy and then use this
Right.
positive person to get me through it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it didn't make sense to me. And so it is what it
That
is.
day was
But
a hallelujah day. Thank
oh my,
God.
Maria was like, she's done. Yes. No, but I was like, nope. And then it's so funny. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast, but I went to get the rest of my things from my ex's house who
Oh no, we
you know,
haven't.
okay, so I went to go get the rest of my things from my ex's house. And when I went back, he was very, like, it was like, mind you, I went through a year of just shit, of being supportive, trying to be nice, someone who pushed me beyond my limits, someone who pushed me to be someone I'm not, someone who pushed me back into regression. And, you know, and I was, and the final straw was a total over the line deal breaker. You know what I'm saying? And he talked to me like nothing happened. Like, he said he wanted to talk to me, and I came in the house, and he's talking to me about work. He's talking to me about, you know, life and all this stuff. And I'm so confused, and I'm just sitting there super uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And he's like, it's really awkward, like, sitting here like this. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And then he texted me later and was like, well, it's gonna be weird at first. And I'm like, at first? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean at first? So I asked him, like, what are you looking for out of this? And he was like, well, you know, I'm going to do this, you're going to do this, and then we're going to get back together. And I was like, no, we're not. And he absolutely lost his shit on me. Like, I mean, lost his shit on me. And, you know, it was a very liberating moment for me, because Maria knows anytime I would walk back into the house, like, I was just drawn right back in, and I'd stay. And he asked me, like, oh, like, if I was gonna stay. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna fucking stay. Like, and this is not my house anymore. Like, I'm out. And, you know, it was a very liberating moment for me to be able to be like, no, I'm walking away. I'm going home. I'm seeing my daughter. I didn't even want to have a fucking conversation with you. I'm not your friend. I'm not your homie. Like, we're not cool.
Mhm.
Um, and since then, like, we haven't spoke, and my energy has been really good. But I mean, that could also be something that, you know, tipped me over with my episode. I don't
Could
know,
be.
but there's just a lot, you know. And it's so crazy because one person can fuck up your whole vibe. So be aware of who you're around. Don't just be self-aware. Be aware of your surroundings as well. The people, the things,
The people
and
that you let into your life, really. And
I
it doesn't
mean,
even have to be romantic. It can be friendship, things like that. You can have a
absolutely.
very, very, very toxic friendship. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, be aware of who you invite into your life. There's a lot of people, a lot of wolf in sheep's clothing, a
Mhm.
lot of people that want to take advantage of you,
Mhm.
especially if you're an empath. Like,
Mhm.
especially, we just attract crazy people.
No, we don't. What are you talking about? Yeah. Well, and also, like, on top of that, like, even if you have, like, a tendency to be empathic or whatever, like, and it's not even just about being empathic, it's just like being human. Like, also be aware of what you consume through
Mhm.
your audio, your visual. Like, be aware of what you're consuming. And, like, I was, you know, there's a lot of misinformation out there now. There's a lot of opinions that are very toxic. There's a lot of toxic positivity. Like, let's be honest about that too. Like,
Ooh,
you
ooh,
know,
ooh,
it's
there was an entire, I'm sorry.
no, you're fine.
It reminded me of this video I watched. There's an entire, I watch a lot of anti-MLM stuff, and there's an entire thing of about toxic positivity, because that's
Hmm.
the way MLMs are. It's nothing but toxic positivity. And it just reminded me of that. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know what toxic positivity is, it's those people who act like there's nothing wrong in life. Like everything is sunshine and rainbows, they shit butterflies, all that type of shit. And like that's not a real thing. Like the thing about being mindful and the thing about being positive and healthy is understanding the balance of good and bad and understanding that, through the bad you grow and through the negative, you're overcoming something and you're becoming something more and you're learning from that experience. And whenever I post things, and one of my coworkers said something to me about this, whenever I post things that are mindful or whenever I post things about growth or whatever, I always talk about like both sides of it, that like, shit can be hard, but like be aware of these things. So for me, like, okay, I might be going through something, but I sit down, I do my gratitude and I'll sit there and I'll just be like, you know what, I'm glad that the sun is shining on me. I'm glad my daughter's with me. I'm glad I have Kelly. I'm glad I have Maria. I'm glad I have my job. I'm glad I have all these things and people in my life. And there's a difference between being positive and being positive in a toxic way. You have to acknowledge the bad because that's the balance of life. No one is good 100% of the time, and that is something that social media has conditioned us into, is like we can't share bad things. And like, I don't give a fuck if you know bad things about me. I don't give a fuck if you know my childhood. I don't give a fuck if you know my now. I don't give a fuck if you know my in between, because all of that shit led me to be who I am right now. And who I am right now, I never would have thought I was going to be this person 10 years ago. I thought I would have been a hot mess now, you know what I'm saying? And like, it's just like by being mindful and doing the work regularly, I've been able to grow into somebody that I'm proud of, and I'm still growing into somebody that I'm proud of. But that's because I've been able to be, and it's not like I'm like, oh, that happened, but and I do say it happened for a reason, but that happened, but like it's okay. No, some things aren't okay, but you can still
Mhm.
acknowledge the lesson. You can still acknowledge like, okay, well, I don't want to do that to my kids, or I don't want to do that to these people in my life, or I never want to make someone else feel that way. I never want to feel that way again, and it can help you be more aware of different things. Like you really have to be in touch with that balance. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
You
I could
have to
really
be.
go
I
on.
mean, oh no, trust me, I can too, because you can't ignore the things that have happened. And a lot
Mhm.
of us are the way that we are, like, me and you, and because we've not only have we experienced these situations, but we've actually gotten through them and successfully have gotten through them.
Right.
Um, we may not be completely over it or whatever, but
But
we
right.
have, yeah, but we know what to do to get us through, and we know the steps that we need to do. And that's the only reason why we talk about this now, is because
Mhm.
we have learned so much just by our actions and things that have happened to us and what we've experienced, that, we can talk about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I was telling Maria before we started this that I was thinking about something in the car today. I was going to say that earlier and I lost track of my thought, but I was thinking about something in the car today, and I was with my daughter and I'm thinking about, I took pictures of me and her together, and Kelly's like, "Oh, I'm so happy for you, da 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 da," because like, he values that time that I have with my daughter. And I've just been thinking about the people I'm around lately, people like Maria, people like Kelly, who visualize, and they work on their own manifestation. They work on their own energy. Like they focus on these things too, right? And those two people are probably the two closest people to me right now. But like even like my people in my family do the same shit, whatever. And I was sitting there thinking about like y- you can't try to manifest things into other people, because I was recognizing my own patterns. And you know, like we're talking about my ex, and I can talk about my old friends and other exes. I can talk about all the shit in the world. And Maria's been through 2 of my exes now, so she knows that I
Yeah.
would do that a lot. Like I see potential in somebody, and whether it's a friend, whether it's a friend's kid, whether it's my significant other, whether it's a coworker, like I see other people's potential, and I want to like manifest all this good shit. And I'm like, you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that, you can be so great, da 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 da. And so I have all this hopefulness for who someone's in my mind is going to be. And then, you know, having that realization that like that's not it. Like that's not it. Because the only person who can manifest shit for themselves is themselves, right? Because
So
the thing, I think that's another toxic thing we have going on around the internet is manifestation. Because a lot of people think if I just talk about this all the time, it's going to happen. But what people don't understand about manifestation is like, you know, I mean, it's like talking to God. People talk to God, and I think that's like in the Bible too. Is like speak it and bring it to fruition. That's not the exact wording, but that's basically what it is.
hmm
Like if you speak it, it'll happen, kind of thing. But and I think that people take that so literally, and that people just say, okay, well, if I say this every day, it's going to happen. I'm just going to sit here and talk about it, but they don't take action,
you
right?
got to believe it enough
Right.
to take action.
Right. And if you're trying to manifest shit for other people, just because you believe in somebody to that extent doesn't mean they believe in themselves to that extent. So you can be sitting here giving all the good energy, praying for somebody, building somebody up, supporting them, and they're still not putting in the effort. They still don't see their own worth. They still don't believe in themselves. And then you're left disappointed because you're like, you know, but I've been trying to be there for you. And like, that's not what matters. And what I realized is like there's so much time that I've wasted trying to help other people see their potential. And I'm not saying that doing that with everybody is a waste of time, because it's not. There are people who you can pour into them and they will take that and they will run with it, and they'll, you know, they'll like they need
Not
that
all the
support.
time, though.
Yeah,
There's not a
it's
lot of people that would do it.
no, and you and Kelly are the only 2 people in my life right now that I know. Like if I'm supportive and I'm giving my energy and I'm giving my thoughts and my heart and my mind and all that, like that y'all value that for me and you'll run with it, and you know, even if it takes time, and that's okay. But
hmm
not everybody's like that. And um you know, you got to start realizing that. And what I realized was all of that energy that I was putting into people who didn't want good things for themselves, genuinely didn't see their own potential, didn't believe in themselves. And I realized that nothing I was going to say was going to make them see those things, number 1. And number 2, all of that energy I could have put in myself, and I could have
hmm
been further in, you know, my parenting, my career, my financial situation. Like I could have been in a better place if I had turn that energy toward myself instead of wasting it on people who didn't want it, need it, whatever. And when I say they don't need it, someone who's not willing to receive something and sit on it and use that as constructive criticism or use that as motivation, like they don't need it. Because it's literally like beating your head against a wall. They don't need it until they're ready, and you can't make somebody ready. And I was just thinking about that in the car on the way
Sometimes
here.
you, yeah, and a lot of times you've got to come to the acceptance that they may never
Hmm.
ever want that for themselves. They
And
may
for
just be
oh,
happy being mediocre, not mediocre, but happy being stagnant. Um,
for
they
people
could
like
be
us, that's so hard.
it is. It's hard, and especially people like my husband too, because I mean, he can't sit idle for very long. He always has a goal for the next thing up. Like he got to design D1 and then D2 and then D3 and then supervisor and then manager, and he's done that faster than anybody has in that company. It
Hmm.
was, I think he's been there for 4 years, 5 years,
Right.
5 years, and nobody's jumped that many times. I mean, he went from a D3 to supervisor and supervisor to manager in 1 year, less than 6 months
Right.
actually. So,
Damn.
but he's always been that way. He's always wanted better, and he's always wanted
Hmm.
more. Um, and
Hmm.
that's the same with me. Um, yeah, I may be home, but
You go ahead. I'm doing this. I remember. Don't judge me.
I know. Uh, yeah, I may be living at home or maybe home and not doing my job or not doing um a formal 9 to 5 job, and yet I want more. I want more from that. And whenever I did there for a little bit sit stagnant, and then when I figured out, oh shit, I'm sitting stagnant because I was watching how these numbers improve and mine not. I got my ass in gear and started, and then what's not even 6 months later, um, I'm sitting here actually going back to school, actually getting ready to go back to school and better myself. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm 41 years old. So
Mm-hmm.
I've always had that in me that I've wanted more
Mm-hmm.
out of life. And I want to be happy in what I'm doing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some people that they want to do the bare minimum just to get by, and that's it. And you can't force them, and you can't make that decision for them to want to
Well,
better themselves.
you know what I've realized, at least in my interactions, I think Maria and I have talked about this before. The people who have had nothing are always the ones who want more. And it's funny because when they want more, they want to get more so they can give it. That's
Hmm.
what I've found the most. Like the people who were raised with everything, the people who never struggled, the people who had, things handed to them, the bad things that happened to them were by their own devices, not because life was just fucked up type of shit. Like you made bad choices, no one made them for you. Like you weren't just like you weren't just a product of unfortunate situations or whatever. Those people tend to get comfortable a lot easier, because for them life has just always worked out. um
Yep.
and a lot of times, things that I've seen at least, a lot of times people don't see the hard work that goes behind getting all of the good things that they got growing up, and like their parents or their family or whatever their situation is, like those people made it look easy. And so, when you that I can't even relate to that. Like my parents, my dad worked, all my parents worked, all my parents worked hard. My mom was always a big believer of speaking things into existence, but she worked for things. um you know we we had just a really my family was just broken, and we grew up in the middle of a lot of animosity, and because of that, like we lost a lot of things emotionally, mentally. Like, I feel like some of the voids that like they knew we had inside of us, like they tried to fill with things or activities or whatever. And for me, as I got older, I knew I never wanted to be mediocre. I knew I never wanted to live in the neighborhoods I lived in again. I have so much love for the people that I used to live around, and I have so much love for the experiences that I had, because it's made me so much more of an open, understanding, loving, compassionate person. Being in diverse communities, being in communities with people who, they share their culture with me, they accept me, I accept them. Like we don't look at skin color, we don't look at religion, we don't look at nothing like that. Like everyone just accepts each other. And that's something that, although I grew up with, some unfortunate shit, like I'm grateful that I had those experiences. But I want to give those types of experiences to my kids in a different way, not by going back and
Mhm.
living in the hood, not by going back and living in dangerous places and putting my kid in precarious situations and shit like that. Like I want my daughter to have that type of heart and mindset, because it was taught to her properly, and because I've raised her to understand that everybody's circumstances are different, whether it's because of how they look or because of where they live or whatever the case may be. And no, it's not fair, but just understand the differences and like empathize with people, like be compassionate. um
Right.
but I always saw my parents wanting more. My dad to this day still talks about how he wants more for himself. Um, and I think that what I've seen a lot is like people struggle and then come up short. Like they give up, they stop believing in themselves. And for me, it's just like, I don't ever want to live like that. I don't want my kid to grow up seeing her mom give up on herself. I don't want my kids to grow up thinking they can't achieve whatever they want to because, mom wanted all this and she never got it. You know what I'm saying? And I never want my kids to be comfortable. And that's something that pushes me to always work harder, because I do believe that you can manifest things and you can work hard and get to where you're trying to go. And I do think, that by getting there, the best thing you can do with success is share it with others. That's an
Hmm.
abundance mentality. Like there's enough space, money, resources for everybody to win, right? So if I'm
Exactly. Yeah.
succeeding, I want to take the people I love with me. If I have room in my home, I want to take the people I love with me.
Hmm.
If I have,
Community over competition.
yeah, if I have money, if I have tools, if I have anything to give, I want to give it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't know. It's weird to me. Like I do see that. Maria and I have talked about that a lot, like watching someone who, it's like you've had successful people around you and you've watched people grow and become, these great people, but like you're comfortable where you are. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense to me either. But the thing is, my father grew up, and I've talked about this before, an abusive household and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, and he always raised us to not settle, to just not settle, to always
Hmm.
look, always uh strive to better yourself. And
Hmm.
I think that helped us a lot. I mean, I grew up, and we talked because Mark had talked to me about that too, because he was like, you've grown up so privileged, but you are the way that you are. And I was like, yeah, but the thing is I never knew that
Yeah.
I was privileged. We were very upper middle class. My father never lived beyond his means. He always made sure that we had what we needed to have. Anytime that we needed stuff for school, he always had it. My mom worked. She worked hard to make sure that we had brand new clothes and
Hmm.
things like that. But I didn't find out till later. We always had, if we wanted anything, like wanted any extras, we had to earn them.
Hmm.
I remember when I was 10 or 11 going to one of my dad's rental properties and cleaning, doing yard work, doing just a bunch of yard work. And at the end of the day, my father paying me for what
Hmm.
I did over there. Um, and, that's the way that I had earned buying whatever I needed to.
Hmm.
So uh, we always learned that we had to work for it. We had to work hard for it. We had to do a good job. Always
Hmm.
do a good job the first time. That way you never have to do it again.
Mm,
So
I like that.
yeah, we were never just given, given anything. And I think that right there is where the switch is, because I never knew how much money
Yo,
we had.
so much just
I
clicked in my head. Go ahead. Sorry.
I never knew how much money I had.
Hmm.
Like we had, not me myself, but my family, my father.
Hmm.
Until I was grown and out of the house.
Right.
Um, so since then, before then we were always taught, you if you want it, you need to earn it. You need to do your job, and you need to do a good job.
Hmm.
Uh, So we were drilled with work ethic.
Hmm.
Um, that's what it was all about. They were like, if you want something, you got to work for it. If you work for it, you've got to do a good job so you can keep your job,
Hmm.
and that way you can always be able to support your family.
Well, yeah, I think that's a big lesson. Like, I didn't even think about that because you're right. There's a difference between being privileged and having everything handed to you and being privileged and someone using that to say, look, I had to do X, Y, and Z to get here. And I think about like big entrepreneurs who are speakers, and how their mindsets are and how they treat their kids the same way. Like, is hard work. Like the people who don't just want to hand their kids, yeah, they want to hand their kids their fortune, but they want to teach them the value of hard work before they get there so that they can take that and they can continue to build on it. You know what I mean? And that's something that we grew up with too. Like all my family was big about earning things. Like I said, we definitely had the thing of like holidays and stuff. It was like, I'm gonna buy you a bunch of stuff, which like to me it was over the top, and it felt like, okay, you're trying to like make up for something sometimes. But at the same time though, like my stepdad, I remember I was like 6, I was in high school or something, and he was like, don't forget you owe me money for your glasses. I was like, how the fuck am I, like, you're my parent, you're just supposed to do that, like, what do you mean? And I just didn't understand it. And like when I was older and I was living in my parents' house, my mom's house, they were like, you can give us half your tips every night, or you can pay us $200 a month in rent. And my dumb ass was like, I'll give you half my tips every night, which was a lot more than $200 a month.
Right.
So yeah, because I was dumb. So, I just kind of felt like, at the time I was like, oh, it's so unfair, whatever, but it does make you value your hard work more. And something that I work really well with personally is positive reinforcement. I don't do well with like, okay, yeah, you work hard, but like, that's it. And that's another reason, like, I love my job. Like, I can't tell you how many times in the last like week and a half, like the people above me, like my bosses, because I have a few, have either told me how, they see me going far, or they see my potential, or they're glad to see me growing, asking me if I'm doing okay and if I'm happy. Like, I've never had a job ask me like, are you happy here? Like, I'm like, it's kind of like, do you actually, like, I know they actually care. Like, I'm not like, I don't feel that way about them, but it's like, damn, like, you actually care if I like my job? What? Like, that's
Right.
new to me. But that's something that goes a really long way with me. Like, and I feel like that's with anybody, like even outside of work, even just in interpersonal relationships, when you feel valued, you're more likely to produce better everything, better work, a better attitude, a better mindset. When you feel valued in any relationship, whether it's work, romantic, friendships, whatever, you're so much more likely to succeed. And that's another pattern I've noticed in my life with like romantic, work, friendships. My friendships are pretty much just Maria, and Maria's always been top notch. We already know that. But even at work, like my coworkers are so kind and supportive, and they like compliment my work and stuff, and like that means a lot to me. And that's the type of energy you want to be around. You can't be around people who are just draining you all the time, who don't appreciate you, who aren't giving you any positive feedback. It doesn't make you want to keep a positive work ethic. It doesn't want to make you work harder for that relationship. It doesn't make you want to be a better friend, or whatever. But yeah, I got off there. My bad.
No,
We do that
all
sometimes.
good.
I sound
Well,
super chill today. Sorry.
well, it's just because when we start talking about one thing, it reminds us of other things.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I honestly think that's why, and even Mark, because that's why Mark was saying, he was like, you grew up privileged, because I never saw my youth as privileged until I met Mark, and Mark told me what he had went through, and I was like, okay, I had a good life.
Yo, my mom straight looked at Kelly and was like the first time she met him, I'm like, yo, don't be throwing my shit out there. Like, I mean, I've told him before, like, I've lived out of my car. But my mom was like, this girl has lived out of her car several times. And I was like, Mom, like, don't be putting my shit out there. But it's true. Like, and what's crazy is like when that's just normal to you, that's just normal to you. Like, when that's just what you go through, like, that's just what you go through. And like you don't realize. It's so funny though, because my family had like this huge like um transition where like my parents, my dad moved to where we are now, and they live in like a suburb that's really nice and has an HOA and blah, blah, blah. And huh
I hate HOAs.
I hate HOAs. That's why I don't have one. But they moved into this like really, and it was like, what is this? It was so like weird to me. And I went to a high school for most of my high school experience that was like predominantly, and when I say predominantly, I mean predominantly white and that's not like the way I grew up, and like everything was just such a transition. I'm like, oh my God, all these people have money, there's not crime here, there's not, like just crazy shit going on. And it wasn't until I went back home that I ended up getting caught up in bad things and living out of my car and doing crazy shit. But sometimes it's like you got to like experience it. You have to
Mm-hmm.
experience it. Not only do you have to experience both sides, but you have to experience both sides in different points in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Because me growing up, like Maria said, like I didn't know I was privileged. Like I know that I was privileged to an extent, but I didn't realize that my situation was not um ideal until I was an adult. Like I didn't even realize it because that's just what I grew up in. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, but it definitely makes your eyes open. It definitely makes you more grateful. Every dollar I make, I'm super proud of. Every dollar I spend, I'm super proud of. Every opportunity that I'm able to give to my daughter, I'm super proud of. Like every opportunity I take for myself, I'm super proud of. Like because based on how you deal with the things that you go through, like you can go one way or the other. And I'm just proud of the fact that like some people become they become products of their circumstances and their environment, and some
Mm-hmm.
people go, no, fuck this. Like I've had so many clients from up north be like, so why are you here? Like why haven't you gone back home if you went back and forth so much? And I was like, because that's not the life I want for my daughter. Like I'm not taking my daughter to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, like I miss my people back home, but I don't miss the shit back home. And that, I'm
I'm trying to convince Heather to move to Texas and open a salon with me.
it's too hot.
That's the news. That's the newest way of trying to get her over here. I mean, geez, come on.
I really I really
We
like
need
my life right now.
we need comments, people in the comments saying, Heather, go to Texas.
No, don't enable. Sorry, I turned my mic off for a second. No, don't enable her. Don't do it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to live by Maria, but I also am like super happy with my life right now and my job,
And that is good. That's good.
and like that's a very rare thing for me. Not because I'm an ungrateful person. Maria will tell you I try to find the positive in everything. One of my friends said that to me the other day. She's like, "You had 2 cancellations today." I was like, "That's all right. I'll go get my nails done." She was like, "I love that you just looked for something positive in that." Um,
Mhm.
but I don't know how else to be. So it's not like I haven't been able to find the positive in my life. But lately I haven't been having to look for it. So
Yeah.
that's a super that's a super huge thing. And that's like where you want to be. Like there's things, and the other thing, and I think is, I know I'm like really on one today, but I haven't talked about a lot of things in a minute. The other thing I've been recognizing is like just appreciate where you're at in your journey. Like you don't have to get to your end goal to be happy. And a lot of
That's
people
true.
have this idea that like I have to achieve this to be like, appreciate the process, my dude. Like, and that's what I'm doing. I'm like, you know, I tell Kelly about this all the time. And I'm like, I'm not necessarily where I want to be, but I'm grateful for where I am right now. And I'm proud of where I am right now because, like, this is not the worst stepping stone that I could be in right now. You know what I'm saying? This is not the worst place I could be in to get to my end goal. So, for me, it's
Exactly.
like, right, I'm like, I'm around my daughter all the time. I've got good energy. I'm taking care of my health again, finally. I'm finally making some money. Like, I love my job. Like, there's nothing that I can complain about at this point in time. But this goes back to that complacency thing. It's a matter of just continuing to push towards what you want and
Yep.
not getting comfortable.
And that's the truth. You always trust me because I got comfortable there for a little while with, not reaching my goal and not doing that. I sat stagnant for a long time, like almost a year. Um, until I realized, okay, get off your ass and start doing something. But um, even Mark, we're like, he reminds me a lot. He's just like, you know what, we've come far.
Hmm.
Um, we were at one time where Mark was making pretty much minimum wage, working over on salary, making doing working like 80 hours a week and,
Mm-mm-mm.
not getting appreciated or anything, but it was a job and we needed the money. And, um, where we didn't know if we were going to be able to put food on the table. And
Right. Yeah.
much different to where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
But we've gotten to where we are now because we didn't sit there was like, crap, why does this happen?
Mm-hmm.
And it was always me. And I go to Mark and I'm like, we're gonna be okay. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you know this? He's all stressed out. Trust me, we're gonna be okay. And we always had enough. We always have just. Sorry, that was my Great Dane. We always have just enough to get by.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, we're gonna be okay. Just keep going, and we'll get there. And like, I swear, not even a week out of after we had that conversation, did he find or did he get a call about the spectrum position?
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah. Um, and he goes, I never believed in that stuff of you know, be okay and it will work out until I met you and you were just completely chill about everything. I was like, no, I wasn't completely chill. Of course, I was stressed out and everything, but you're not going to get anywhere constantly dwelling on your situation without doing some kind of action to better yourself. Um, and he's like, that's true. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even he has changed his mindset. Like anytime that I get stressed out about things, he's just like, oh, we won't be here forever.
Right.
Um, so it's kind of funny because I kind of rubbed off on him a little bit, but you know, always strive to do better for yourself. Always.
Yeah, you have to. Sorry,
Yeah.
no, I'm using the sunlight. That's why it got dark in here. My bad. My bad,
Yeah,
YouTube, if you're on YouTube.
you're right. Um, yeah, never settle. That's one thing you need to think about. Never settle.
Mm-mm.
You've got
No,
to
because you're
always
worth
strive
more
to
than
do
that. Everybody is. But it's a matter of finding that within yourself. Like, let me tell you, like, and I'm not going to get deep into it. All I'm saying is, like, I've been through some really dark shit and I'm still hopeful. Like my heart, I always say this, like my heart should be cold. My heart should be hardened. I should be mean. I
I
should
said
be,
that shit.
yeah, like I should be resentful. I should be a not good person. And it's all about mindset and it's all about pushing and it's all about believing in yourself and knowing that there's positive even in the darkest of your fucking times. Like knowing that there's light at the end of that tunnel. There's a silver lining. Like something is happening for you and let me tell you, like, growth is where you find the most fucking discomfort. Even if it's a fucked up way of growing, if you're feeling discomfort, if you're feeling pain, if you're feeling things that are really like tearing at your soul, like something light is on the other side. Even and I know that's hard to wrap your mind around with certain things, but there are certain
It's
things
hard.
where it was like, why did that happen to me? But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, no, that happened for me. And a lot of things in my childhood happened for me because now I know not to do the same things with my daughter, put my daughter in certain places or, I just know how to be different. You know what I'm saying? So just understand that like the lesson isn't always going to come right after the beating. Like sometimes it takes years for the lesson to come. But just understand that like no matter what you're going through, you're growing. If you're hurting, you're growing, and it's okay. And it's okay to be hurting, and it's okay to need help through that. But just know that like
Yep.
there's something good on the other side.
Always. And don't give up. Man, don't. And I have told Heather, I'm like, dude, for you to actually be the way that you are and have gone through all the crap that you have, it's, it's pretty amazing.
I just feel like negative energy is wasteful. And mind you, I have my own and I have my moments like but at the
Everybody
same
does.
time, yeah, at the same time it's understanding like where it's coming from, understanding how to work with it, understanding how to process it and work through it. And then just moving on from it. Like and my biggest problem used to be dwelling and I would be angry and hateful and I would hold grudges and I'd be so resentful and at the end of the day, like, that did no service to myself or anyone else. And so that's just something that I've learned. I've gone years without talking to my mom. I've gone years without talking to my dad. I've gone years without talking to my brother. And right now I get to talk to all of them. And it's like my brother's birthday was the other day and I was posting pictures up and there's just like this gap of years where we don't have any pictures together, or I don't have any pictures of him and his kids. And it's like, I remember feeling like I never want to see a gap like that again.
Right.
With anybody that I care about. No matter what happens, like, you have to push through and you have to be okay, because all you're doing is you're creating turmoil within yourself and you're missing out on life by holding on to all this negative shit that you could just work through and let it go.
That is the truth.
Let it go. Let it go. I have a 4-year-old. Don't judge me. She's not 4 yet. Don't let me say that.
Why did I think she was 5? Well, I'm trying to age her.
2 months. She'll be 4. I'm like, ugh.
Well, she'll be starting school soon.
Shut up, Maria.
Before you know it, she'll be a teenager and bad mouthing you.
Great. She's already bad mouthing me.
It's gonna be 100 times worse. I guarantee it. There's some days I just want to slap.
Today she told me, she said, "Leave me alone." I was like, I swear to God, yeah. Oh, she's mine, 110%. I was like, you know what? Mommy did nice things for you today, and you being a whole asshole. Like, we did too. So she doesn't get nice things next week. We're not gonna go do a big nice day next week because someone was bad.
She was being a butthole.
Have to earn it.
That is definitely the truth. But it's a good thing you're instilling in her.
I know.
She doesn't need to turn out to be a selfish child.
No, not on my fucking watch.
God, right? On somebody else's, maybe. Stop.
No, you're fine. You're doing great. It's fine. Put it out there. Thank you.
I'm like in my my entire personality is showing on my channel now.
I love it.
As I get these comments on there like, "Oh my gosh, you put that voiceover in," I just about fell out of my chair.
I love it.
Because I'm like, yeah, I never take myself seriously, and my sarcasm tends to come out a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's funny. I've gotten to the point where I'm not quiet anymore.
Yeah, you're so funny.
That awkward person in front of the camera, now it's just me talking.
Yeah. So, it gets that way. That's what I always tell people. Just like, I'm super comfortable in front of a camera. I didn't used to be. But you just gotta practice. It gets better.
God. Even when I took that long hiatus and started back up again, I was still freaking awkward, and I'm like, this is awful. And now I turn the record button on and up.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now that I've been talking to you for 2 minutes, let's get into what I was supposed to be talking about.
Right. Yeah, that's how it is.
Right. But I love it because even though my following is small, I have a very engaged following, and I love it.
That's awesome.
They'll like write on my videos, and like today, it was funny because I was talking about my hair. I was like, yeah, I this is my hair because it's the only color that I had except for orange, and you guys, orange and yellow look awful on me.
We're not doing orange. No.
Yeah. So I was like, but I'm getting some blue overtone in. Maybe I should put it on and make it teal. And she goes, yeah, I love the green hair. She goes, but my sister saw her teal and she's like, I like teal. And she goes, yep. An argument ensued. And then we start watching, and she goes, my sister goes, that's not a very Maria palette. And the other girl's just like, yeah. She goes, all I could say is I'm confused because I did it on the Kylie Sailor palette, and Kylie's palettes are all neutral.
Yeah.
And I love it because I love that my audience knows me and
Mm-hmm.
that they know what I'm like, they know what I like, and all of that. So it's just, because I have people will like tag me and stuff if they see a glitter look out there or new shiny things and stuff. I'm just like, oh, I love that my audience knows me. I mean, I have a very very small following, but I love it because they're so engaged.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what's the most important thing is being like that engagement.
hmm Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, like when she wrote me that note, because she doesn't really this person rarely ever talks on my videos, but I talk to her on Instagram a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And when she wrote that, I was just like, oh, my people know me.
Yo, you're so funny. I cannot.
Yes, I'm addicted to glitter. I put glitter in every single look.
No.
I Yeah, I've been called the glitter queen because
Hey.
somebody goes in my video. I think is it my Mickey tutorials video that I was like, I'm obsessed with glitter, and somebody, Teresa wrote on my comments, Maria, obsessed with glitter?
What?
No.
Right. I
Who
cannot.
knew? Yeah, right. I did 2 whole videos on glitter, so
I cannot.
but yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. It's nice. I like it. And now that we got off on a tangent again, I guess this could be a good segue as to end the podcast here because it's been
We're at
an
like an
hour and
hour and a half. Yeah, we're doing great.
a half. As long as it doesn't go over, man. We've had one like hour and 45 minutes, and I've had some people tell us that they like the longer ones, but
Oh. Well, I feel like, there's value in it, and that's the most important thing. So if y'all don't get to
there's
the
always
end, that's
value in it.
cool. Whatever. I ain't mad at it. Thanks for trying.
Even on our crappiest podcast, there's been value on it.
Yeah, there's always value. We always come to the table with something.
Yeah, well, and mainly because we know if we're not in the zone and we're not ready to
We
get
don't
on
do
and
it.
record, yeah,
I
because
don't
we
want to
don't want
produce shit, you know?
to. Yeah, exactly. So, episode 1 of season 3, it was an update on our lives.
Y'all can't see me, but I'm twerking in the background. Eh.
Oh, this is happy Heather. We all love
Yeah.
happy. We want to keep happy Heather. Okay,
Heather
so
Happy pops her
comment.
ass for no reason, apparently.
All right.
Sorry.
All right, guys. Until next time, we will see you
Woo.
next week, oh, dear Lord, where we will definitely have a topic.
Yes.
Uh, would any of your stylist friends want to do?
Maybe I'll ask.
Okay.
I'll ask when I
'Cause
go to work.
we could have a guest and do a whole thing on hair.
I would love that.
Yeah. So I'm sure you could talk about it all
So
day
many
too.
things popped right into my head as soon as, yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, guys. We love you and we will see you next week. Have a
Yay!
wonderful week and we will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye!